So many of you have asked me to talk about Duendes, and the reason I've been hesitant to do so is because I have a super hard time taking them seriously. I know that in terms of impact on online Latino-related horror, its reach is undeniable. A lot of us grew up seeing these videos, but I'm not going to pretend that a lot of them didn't age horribly. There are a few older videos, whether it's Latino-related or not, that even though they've aged, they are still charmingly good for something that came out over a decade ago, and I just reminded myself that I'm in my 20s. But as for Duendes, I never really found them too spooky as much as others do. I always understood them as just stories, and it's really hard for me to be scared of something I can punt several yards away. But I promise I'll do my best to get through this with the complete respect and regard for people who actually believe this is real. Kinda. Duendes are portrayed in folklore illustrations mostly as tiny little elves. But not in like the cute medieval fantasy sort of way, more so an offend-addicted gnome out to steal your ankles. The word duende is believed to derive from the saying, dueño de la casa, or owner of the home, dueño de duende. There are a lot of videos out there of people coming across duende homes and even just seeing duendes and holding their hands, but let's talk about the elephant in the room here. Is that a doll? Yeah. It's believed that apart from duendes naturally occurring in nature, you can just make one, and it'll come to life after a little ritual. The purpose of making these little guys is to bring good fortune to your home or business so long as you slide them the occasional offer of a little treat like a piece of candy or a drink like whiskey or a soda. There are actual markets in Mexico where you can buy them and some even sell them online. Some people believe that you can encourage the duendes to move by holding their hand, which is a cute idea in theory, but every video that claims to display this just has someone wiggling their hand over and over and freaking out when the doll leg walks. But it's just dragging its feet and returning back to its previous stiffened pose to give the illusion of walking, but let's be honest, it's not really much of an illusion, is it? It just looks like someone playing with toys while cheering it on to please move. Anyways, the common consensus is that if you don't give them offerings, they will become hostile. So let's finally talk about the dangerous duendes in folklore. A lot of people are actually against the purchasing of duende dolls because they believe that duendes are just always inherently evil, and it's only tricking you into accepting them into your home, to essentially harm you regardless of if you give it the occasional sip of wild turkey. This is because lots of folklore of duendes explain that while yes they do live peacefully within nature, they also like to lure people into the forest, most likely to kill them or to fuck with them by making it hard for the person that they lured in to find their way out, so they eventually die of starvation. And when they're not in the forest, they like to make their ways into people's homes, to live within the walls or the roof of your house. And guess which room is their favorite spot to go to? The kids' room. Duendes have this weird thing about hygiene, and that extends towards humans too. If they see that a kid's toenails are getting too long, they'll attempt to cut it for them while they're asleep. But because they're clumsy little guys, they'll occasionally make the oopsie of cutting off an entire toe. Other than cutting off toes, they will usually just generally be a nuisance to you by moving items around when you're not looking and hiding them, which I just love because now there's a lore explanation as to why you can't find your TV remote. When they're not just being slightly mischievous, they also like to cause you harm through giving you bad luck and also like to break things around the house if they're feeling up to it that day. Around the 2010s is when you'd start to see this boom of videos from people swearing to have found duendes running around their homes, and okay, we've established that they didn't really age well, but I love them anyways. You got kids randomly throwing themselves on the floor for no fucking reason, and also, I don't know why, but a lot of videos start with kids playing soccer. What's up with that? These videos take me back to when I'd watched them on my Nook tablet when I was 11, which my dumbass asked for because I was a pretentious little prick and I guess I wanted everyone around me to know that I read a lot. Which I did, but iPads had apps that allowed you to access the same amount of ebooks. My dumbass could have had my digital copy of Warrior Cats and Minecraft at the same time. Anyways, duendes have been seeing another round of popularity recently as more and more people are making videos about them or mentioning them, and even non-Latinos have started to jump into the conversation. Duende sightings are starting to be reported more often in the lower half of the United States, and when you think about it, it makes sense since a lot of the lower half of the United States used to be Mexico. Considering that my favorite beverage right after water is whiskey, I think I'd get along with these little guys, because we already have that much in common, so fuck it, I think I might just buy one. I've begun a small collection of oddities to display in my home, and I'd eventually want to have a whole display shelf dedicated to stuff from Latin American superstition, so I think it would make a fine addition. I'm also hoping to bring back a doll from the haunted Isla de las Muñecas too on my trip to Mexico soon, so while I'm there I might go looking for a shop that sells duende dolls. Even though I never believed in duendes growing up, I can still appreciate the many stories of them. I've always loved folklore, myths, and cryptids, so this stuff is right up my alley. I'd like to end the video by sharing a duende urban legend I heard on the Unnoticed podcast from the Clown Boys. Shout out to them. In Michoacan, Mexico, a musician and his band were playing for the afternoon in town to make some money. Eventually it started to get late, and the musician needed to get back home to his wife. Him and his band said goodnight and goodbye to one another and went their separate ways. They had stayed out a little too late this time, and the musician wanted to get home as fast as he could to not leave his wife worrying about him, so he decided to not go through the normal path to get home, and instead take a shortcut through the woods with nothing lighting his path but the moonlight. The man was in a hurry, so he tried his best to navigate his way in the dark, but eventually he saw what he believed was a light in the path ahead of him. When he approached it, he realized it was a small duende encampment with a small bonfire in the middle and many duendes dancing around it. The duendes saw the man and noticed the instrument in his hand. The man was shocked and stood still as they approached him. Once one got close, they made an offer to the man. They wished for him to play them just one song so that they could dance to music, and in exchange they'd give the man a bag of golden coins. The man knew he shouldn't linger and get back home, but he needed the money, and surely his wife would understand him being really late if he came back home with golden coins. The man agreed and played a short song for the duendes. The duendes kept their word and handed him his reward. He couldn't believe his luck as he took the bag. He thanked the duendes and went on his way to see his wife, excited to tell her the good news. He eventually arrived home and knocked. His wife answered the door, and instead of being happy to see him, her face was that of shock and horror. She asked him, "Where have you been? I thought you were dead. You've been gone for so long, it's been years." The man caught a glimpse of inside the home and saw children, but he had never fathered any kids of his own, and just right behind them was one of his bandmates and best friend. The man was outraged and asked what all this was. She explained that years ago he went missing after the night him and his band played together, and no one was able to find him since. The man swore that only a mere hour had passed while he was in the forest. He explained that he was just playing for duendes for a bag of gold. Desperate to prove to his wife that he wasn't lying and he didn't abandon her, he opened the bag to show her. She shook her head in confusion. The man looked into the bag. There was no gold. It was just normal peso coins. Across many stories of duendes, their set of abilities are kinda just up to the storyteller, but two things usually stay the same. They're either tricksters out to ruin your life and kill you, or they're helpful little nature elves who like to eat candy and drink Four Locos if you can spare one in exchange for good luck. But let me know how y'all feel about them, and fuck it, if you think I'm wrong about them and you think they're real, go ahead and share your duende stories if you have any, and if you have a video of them, go ahead and share them in the channel's Discord, link down below. And let me know what folklore y'all would love to see next. It doesn't need to be from Mexico, it can be from anywhere in Latin America, and I'll see to it that it eventually gets covered. Channel members get first dibs on what I cover next, and because of the long wait for the next big project, I've decided to drop the waiting for it to come out and just thank everyone who supported me recently for every video forward. Thank you so much for these fan arts. I love these, and I have them displayed in my digital home in Tower Unite, as well as printed and framed in my real home. Perhaps I'll show it to y'all one day, but thank you to Small Kyo and Flop Princess for these lovely pieces. And I'd also like to thank the recent super thanks. Apologies for any mispronunciations. Thank you to Ashton Newman Photography, Anthony Pasquale, Sheila Hands, OG113, Amaya, Alfredo Gomez, and lastly, user QV2YN6WYNF. Interesting name. As a reminder, every donator gets their shout out at the end of the video and the VIP role in my Discord, which gets you sneak peeks of upcoming videos. Just reach out to one of the mods with proof that you've donated beforehand. Thank you all for watching. Okay, I lied. There's one last thing I need to address before ending the video. That was originally the ending, by the way, but something important recently came up right now, and it made me realize something I've neglected to address. So I got a DM on Discord telling me someone was straight up ripping my videos and posting them as clips on TikTok, and I guess I never actually stated how I feel about clipping. So here it is. If you'd like to clip my videos, you have my complete and full permission and blessing to do so. I think clipping is fine and it introduces my content to the negative attention span havers who need GTA gameplay at the bottom of videos longer than 3 seconds in order to watch any long form content. However, please credit me. Just mention my YouTube channel in either your caption or have it displayed somewhere in the video, and if you're feeling extra nice, please provide a link to the original video. I did settle this with the person in question and we're all good, and they changed their captions to credit me, but I'm still choosing not to name them because I know the nature of the internet means someone's not going to listen to me say don't harass them, and they'll instead go and harass them, and that's not what I want. Go outside, everyone. Take care. Lávense su cara con agua y jabón. Love ya. Bye.